Gay rights. Hey, what's up guys? The world is a weird and scary place. Just a few weeks ago, Chicago was in a polar vortex. Every person in society, including probably myself, is being casted in Dune. And the Oscars, oh my god. As a lot of you can probably tell after being with me these last 2 award seasons, I get really into the Academy Awards for some reason. They always piss me off, they don't matter, but for some reason, in the moment, they are the most important thing in the world to me. And see, they really have built these 2019 Oscars into being quite the shit show. Almost so many weird decisions to a point where I'm getting a little suspicious. We all know what's been going on. They first announced a popular film category, then they hired Kevin Hart as a host, only to later take him away, resulting in a hostless Oscars. They initially decided to not air 4 important categories. Paddington 2 and Timmy are not nominated. Folks, it's madness. But what if I told you these are all related? What if I told you I had a theory for this whole thing, and that these are all intertwined? Something insanely fishy is going on for all of these shenanigans to be happening at the same time. Basically, and I don't mean to get too crazy here, but I think the Academy is holding Paddington hostage. Let's get into it. Alright, so where do we start? Let's start where things really got weird. August 8th, 2018, aka 8/8/2018. Write that down. Remember that. This was the day the announcement was made that a popular film category would be added. Next, the Oscars announced the next host being Kevin Hart. Why they chose Kevin Hart is something we will get into in a little bit. You see, in the tweet that brought him down, we see 4 + 4, which adds up to the number 8. One of the biggest snubs of the awards was Timothée Chalamet, someone who has 8 letters in both his first and last name, similar to that of Bohemian Rhapsody, a film that has caused quite the controversy during award seasons this year. Not to mention the total number of letters in the name of one of the biggest performers of this year's ceremony, Lady Gaga. Oh, and let's not forget that the Academy refused to nominate one of the best movies of the year, 8th Grade. Why? You tell me. Oh, and how could I forget? We of course have 8 Best Picture nominees rather than 10. Knowing they could have very well made room for both First Man and Beale Street, it feels incredibly intentional to keep it at this number. Looking back at past ceremonies, this number was never really this common. And how could I forget the biggest of them all? This is the 91st Oscars, 9 - 1 equaling, you guessed it, 8. With all that being said, I think it's safe to assume that 8 is a pretty important number for the Oscars celebrating the 2018 films. More on that later. So at this point, you're probably wondering, how does our boy Paddington fit into all of this? This is where we jump forward to the Oscars' decision of not airing certain categories. Now the Oscars, they could have literally chosen any categories for this. Hell, they could have taken out one of the sound categories. Seems logical, but no. They chose cinematography, hair/makeup, editing, and live action short. Why on earth would they pick these categories specifically? Here's your answer. I think it was a way of sending a message. You see, I took the first letter of each of these categories and I got alchem, which to me reads as alchemy. Now, alchemy involves the 4 elements, which are earth, fire, water, and air. But literally, what does this mean? I did some digging and realized there was no movie that fully utilized these 4 elements more than Paddington 2. These elements were literally essential for Paddington's survival, the water being the ship and ending of the film, the fire being the hot air balloon, the air also working as the hot air balloon for his escape, and the earth being his upbringing in the jungle because he's a bear. The Oscars getting rid of these awards is their way of getting rid of the elements that are essential to Paddington's survival. Now, you may be asking, how does this connect to the number 8? Remember that number? Yeah, well, I got some news for you, pal. When I looked into what exactly the number 8 signifies, it very clearly represents luck. This could be taken into a multitude of different directions. You don't even know what I have to say about Lucky Charms, but the first thing that came to mind when I thought of luck is the idea of a leprechaun. When looking up what exactly a leprechaun is, I found this definition. They are usually depicted as little bearded men wearing a coat and hat who partake in mischief. They are solitary creatures who spend their time making and mending shoes and have a hidden pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Guys, get this. Paddington is a little bearded man. He wears a coat and a hat. He does get caught up in mischief, but we all know he is innocent. The Oscars' constant signs of the number 8 clearly hints at the fact that they have a desire for luck and for essentially success, something a leprechaun possesses through his gold at the end of his gay-ass rainbow. Paddington has that success. The signs have been here for years. Looking back at The Revenant, the film that the Academy for whatever reason decided was the film that Leo deserved an Oscar for, featured the protagonist fighting a bear. Oh my god, there's so much bear violence in that film. Not to mention another Oscar-nominated film, The Hateful Eight, which was the Oscars' way of saying they are enemies with this number until given its success. And lastly, remember when I said there was a reason the Academy picked Kevin Hart in the first place? Well, get a load of this.
Yeah! Let's go!
Yeah, you see that? Not to mention another tweet of his that should have been a red flag from the get-go, labeling this innocent bear as a bitch. No wonder the Academy wanted Kevin. He's anti-bear. Paddington 2 is somewhere locked in a closet, somewhere without Marmalade, without his family, and without a single goddamn nomination. Listen, this isn't just a conspiracy video, okay? This is a cry for help. We need to get our friend out of there. Free Paddington. Goodbye.
My loneliness.